Hello and welcome to another jungle gameplay review, and of course this time there is a NIDALEE who go Ludens, and look, it's terrible, don't do it. However, you want a bit of penetration, some movement speed passive, a little bit of that mana juice, you can do that. You can also just go rock a belt on Night Harvester and enjoy your life, but hey, we want to make things more difficult. While we're apparently very angry at the world, you can see from the name, you'll see from this game, this is how you jungle when you are just sick of every laner being a laner and you are going to take over everything. We have here a late invade, or early invade. Skarner face checks. Yasuo dies. No, he flashes, he gets out. Now, you're looking at this and you're going, okay, so GG from this. No, because firstly, the Skarner is able to respawn and get back to his buff in time, which means his first kill is not compromised. Huge. Secondly, the NIDALEE didn't get the kill. Thirdly, the Zed got the kill but doesn't reset, which means first rotation, okay, we have a very balanced, normal, game that we can actually play through. The NIDALEE's runes are on your screen. Night Harvester, of course. The Skarner will get a leash. We're queuing onto the blue. Both junglers starting on the top side. We have this Vision. 99% in this particular case, NIDALEE's will, of course, also start on the top side. So you know that she's going to most likely be going down if you're the Skarner. Skarners, while he's getting reworked, always have these good win rates. Yes, they're stub bots to a certain degree, but they don't have to be. They can be such dominating and destructive team fighters, especially with that Q spell, and I've honestly had Skarners just go Q max and farm. And farm and farm and farm and farm, and eventually, if you don't really play well, and you don't maximize your skill set and maximize your champion's win condition, or, farm equally as well, they can come out ahead pretty easily. At least that was historically the case. Now, it's not as much the case, but we are obviously a NIDALEE, it's a Skarner, I'm not much concerned. Let's see how we snowball this advantage. Yasuo leaves the mid lane and says, yes, I will ward this. And obviously from NIDALEE's case, you don't categorically know, we know it's warded. He walks on down, where the hell else is he going? He's moving in here to ward so that he can track our timer. His bot lane, can see this because they have the shove. We have here the Skarner crossing, he's on this side as well. They all see this, but they all anticipate the NIDALEE now going from red to her Krugs as she kited out the Raptors there. No, she knows that she was seen. She knows if she full clears and then shows up, it's predicted. She also knows that at this particular stage, right, they moved up and warded because they saw her and Raptors. This is the kind of stuff I've spoken about at such a high level in the Platinum course that I just released. Over 4 hours, everything you need to get to Diamond. I put in so much effort and love and information into that thing. Anyone who's ever gotten Diamond from my coaching, that information is in that course on the Platinum one. It's absolutely huge. I hope you guys really enjoyed who tested out. Talk a lot about how to leverage this kind of stuff into this beautiful gank here fluidly, easily, and with any single jungler. I mean, it's so obvious when you look at it like this in a high elo game, but when you're doing it in Platinum, it makes you look like a god. It makes you look like a god, because it's like, about to be warded. And it's like, well, yeah, but I saw you ward. I don't need to use my scanner. I'm just going to go across the backside here, and then off we go, And you're saying, well, the NIDALEE doesn't even have a scanner, and I'm going, exactly. Now imagine if the Skarner in this particular case went upside, you could just go slap a nice little trinket right here and track a second rotation, 4-minute 20 respawn Grom. And, if he spends too much time up here, as they will do in your lower elo games, Diamond and below, hey, we can do something about that. Or at the is normal, it's a scuttle crab. It's very normal. Or in most cases, right, you do your full clear, you do a 5 camper, you cut it, you get the gank, you get the double, you take the scuttle. Now we can go back to this, or we can cross and try and take this. But in this particular case, we know, the Skarner says, look, I'm gonna just reverse field. But I don't understand this logic. I feel like this is such a gross oversight. It's something that Agurin does so well. He would have just based on the Grump, man. Like, he finishes the Grump, sees the NIDALEE, he's like, there's no ways I can contest that scuttle. Back to base, take the scuttle crab. He knows NIDALEE did a 5 camp and cut out the Krugs here. Now he'd be in a position, right, with itemization to kind of do a bit more proactivity on the map. But at the same time, obviously, it's still going to be roughly like 4 or 9. But now he can invest the 10 seconds into this zone to get deeper vision, obviously from his perspective, because he knows most likely the NIDALEE is going to be doing Krugs before resetting to get the full sequence and coming on up. Bit of mind gaming. 100% bit of mind gaming, but he's playing Jarvan, right? So it's a bit more palatable to kind of do those things. The NIDALEE's decided, hey, let me stay out for the repeat. I love this because now you're also in the Skarner's head, right? You're in the Skarner's head 100%. He thinks, I can't go to the Grump because I went from my Grump all the way up to take the top scuttle, gank to top lane. I gotta go base because if NIDALEE bases, she's coming back with atomization advantage to protect her side. I'm doomed. So he cannot afford it in this particular case. If he had based on the Gromp, then he could afford the time, and Nidalee would have to say, look, this is great, but I might lose my camps for it. Instead, she knows that this kind of can't afford to stay on the top side, so I'll stay down here. I'll repeat gank this bottom lane. Juicy, beautiful. This is what angry jungler looks like, because it's just in tune, it's in sync, it's potent, it's powerful, it can carry any elo, and you don't have to be Nidalee. You can be anything, man. You can be anything. That's why I play my champions, because sure, I lose carry potential at certain ranks, like Ornn falls off and then Zyra falls off, and then it's like, well, I gotta go back to other normal things, which ends up just being Mundo. But, you know, the point is, for those who want Diamond, at the very least, you can play whatever you want. And for those who want Master Tier like this, then most meta champions will allow you to do this, and it's just the total control that we have. Now, the Senna re-shows up again upon the second death. They're kind of pushing out the Ezreal here, but like, where's Iskana going to be if you're the blue side jungler, if you're the blue side team at this particular point, right? Sorry to pause it again, but it's very important. He finishes this, he loops back to take this, okay? Now he's got a base and go back to the same side because his Krugs are going to spawn from into the Raptors, into the Wolves, into the Gromp. So 99% you know the guy's going down here. Yeah? He can't cut into counter jungle this because he's going to run into it, or he's going to avoid the situation where he's most likely needed as a more utility-based jungler, right? So the control is just nutty. So there he goes. He's done the Krugs, he's done the Raptors, he's done the Wolves, he's rotated from the Wolves into this fight. He doesn't do his Gromp first. He probably could have maybe pulled up a little sooner, I'm assuming, but you know what, it doesn't really matter. Nidalee out of base says, hey, look, I'm going to do the Wolves into the Gromp because I intend on counter jungling, which makes no sense. So this is a big down moment. She does just kind of, it's just a down moment because, you know, from her perspective, there's no ways in hell that spear actually hits very nice. We trigger the passive. We'll go all in with a Zed Ultimato, and that's a dead Yasuo. And, you know, sometimes it's very easy to outthink yourself as a jungler, but I don't think you should outthink yourself. You know, the guy very clearly went to the top scuttle. All right, we ping it off. You know, he's going to sequence top to the bottom. We know that's going to be happening, all right? So there's no ways that his Wolves and Gromp are spawning in the time frame because we know the Wolves are going to be spawning at 5 minutes to 5 minute 10. So if that's not the timer, then there's no way he's on the bottom side at that particular stage. So I know he's doing Krugs and Raptors. There's no reason to do this, and to this, unless you want to gain top lane or mid lane specifically. Nice trap. And then we can transition down to RNG Scuttle Crab. So obviously the roaming from the center, terrible, but we have made a level 3. We have total control. We've created bot prio so easily. And now a lot of people say, she just mindlessly ganked bot lane for this lead, for this dragging control. No, guys, this was a lecture by the Nidalee in the face of the Skarner saying, you're going to full clear. Your team are warding to show me. I will not only misdirect them, I will circumvent their vision. I will mind game you to thinking I'm coming up to kill your ass if you go for my Gromp, so you're not going to do it. But instead I'll be repeat ganking the bot lane. Then I'm going to go to the top side quadrant. You're going to rotate and get a kill. I don't really care. I'll gank your mid lane, kill him level 6 prio. Now, I will kill your support who has to run back down to the bottom lane to get XP, but she's level 3, so she dies. Thanks for the dragon. It is what you do when you're jungling angry. It's what you're doing when you're in the zone. And it's a much different way to play the game. It's very fun. So effectively, she goes back to baseline. We have the sword boots. We're going to go for the Lich Bane, Snowball, Dark Seal Rush. I think that's the best way to do things right now. That's really a huge item spike for her. She tries to chuck a spear onto the Singe, but unfortunately, she sort of blocks it with his ugly ass face. We chuck another spear and everybody's super moving, so now we're in a bit of a precarious situation. We do get ulted, the Skarner is level 6, we do get suppressed, we do get grounded, and the Zed will go in and get some assistos for the Nidalee. Double assist, thank you so much. So again, you're worried about your laners in most of your games, when if you allow them this freedom, most players will do better things than you expect or than you actually have. And the problem is you just don't do the right thing. You watch them die in bad situations. The enemy jungler doesn't get suppressed by you. Singed, fun champion. So this, a little bit of detachment from reality because we took this, we go here, we look to go topside for the rotational kill, but then use the 80% rule, right? Is there an 80% chance I can get this kill, get out, where's the Skarner, what does he want to do? A red buff for sporting, right? All those things. So we know it's not going to happen. So basically she says, look, I could go up here, but because I see in the center, I'm just going to go down to the bottom side. I'll take the Krugs. Then I will take the red. Very nice. Yasuo goes back to the mid lane. Thresh and Ashe are just being shilling down here. Nara's like, yo, what's up? And they're not even doing it. So she's like, a gift. That is a gift. Because now you can do your Raptors and you can afford to just cut in. You can also look to cut into the mid lane here as we see the Thresh roaming as well. We chuck a spear. It misses, but it doesn't really matter. The Subi has no flash, although the Zed gives him a Q. We'll chuck that spear, which hits. Now, obviously, we want to keep going. We do have the Skarner's ult up very, very soon. We flash in just to get the smite. We get the swipe as well. And that is an Ashe arrow cinematically missing every single gameplay. You cannot make this up. And we chuck that spear. That's a Dark Harvest stack as well. One more auto. One more auto. It's done. Always auto attack is a useful thing. Even if your champion's auto attacks do not feel good. On hers, they are good and you must do them. But on other champions, Zyra, you always need your autos for your plants anyway, but you know what I mean? Like champions where autos just don't feel like they're doing anything, keep autoing when your spells are down, keep autoing when you're chasing. If you have AA range and movement speed, that's at least relatively equal, you can keep chaining the damage down, and it always will result in kills and victories. It's also a classical thing, right? Just keep autoing, just keep autoing, just keep swimming. Now from this, we have a jungle dead. We have here a Thresh ultimate. We have here... For a second there, I got a little nervous that he randomly took it with his ultimate, and then I was a little bit, you know what I mean? But that didn't happen, so that's great. Now the NIDALEE is, of course, killing the jungler, falling back into this to take the objective, falling back into the blue side quadrant, so outside a rule. Kill the stuff, take the objective, fall back to your stuff. Now, if he wanted to contest, he'd have to go all the way through, but he could not. It's too dangerous. So he goes to the other side. He says, "Hello, Ashe," and kills Ashe, which is, of course, he does. I don't know why he speaks like that, but who knows? Who knows what Skarner sounds like? I mean, Riot doesn't even know at this point with the rework taking so long. Should have given it to Nocturne or to Shyvana. Yes, they can always be kind of viable and decent. I know, but they just look ridiculous, and the playstyles are so binary. There's so many cool things we can do. You know what we can do with modern tech on a transformation champion like Shyvana while maintaining hybridization builds? Excuse me. Play the Marvel theme song. Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah, I do prefer the more gritty and more serious of, you know, the Batman stuff, but when you're looking at Ashe arrows across the map, you got to go with the more repeat comedy effect. Now, of course, from base here, all of this is done, so you reset, you go boom, boom, you say, right, quadrant is done, can I use this on a plate space somewhere? What deserves my attention? Because that's effectively what you're looking to do. If you can use a herald first before your quadrant, great, but that isn't the way, right? The way is quadrant, cut, look, cut down, and you're not really looking to kind of go herald first with the gank first, unless you're looking to leverage that into counter jungling and transition gank here, and then you can loop back and do it again, or loop back and do the dragon. So I like the idea of doing the quadrant first here, let your team finish their stuff, sync up, make another kill, set another trap here, absolutely perfect, solo kill again. Just step up. Just absolutely step up in their faces. Thresh hooks, spear hooks, double kill, flash doesn't matter. This is angry jungling, and not because it's NIDALEE, because again, you can do this with so many junglers. It's just so dominating because it's always here. It's suffocating for the enemy jungler. And yes, map scaling is a bit of an issue, but hey, you know, what else do you do? But the thing is, they're not even paying attention to this in high elo, right? You're worried about your platinum, your diamond, and your gold ADCs kind of doing this. Look, it doesn't change. That's why as a jungler, you have the opportunity to control these things. Now, most mid-MMR junglers, and I know this because I've watched more League of Legends in the last month as I recorded these courses for every MMR than I've ever done. And that's saying a lot because I've been doing this a long time. But they would just shove the herald here, right? Punch it, punch it, punch it. Or they would shove it on a plate, on a tower that has one plate, or they'd shove it and leave. They don't see this. You know, you need to be able to see this kind of stuff. And she holds it here very, very well because she's like, well, I mean, I've got time. There's no real reason to use it. We're not going to bust things over. There's none of the turrets are really low enough to actually be used. You know, unless our whole team is sieging and we're like a champion that can really like rinse the plates. I don't need the golden fusion. I'm rich. Kill, shadow, kill, right? Move back through here. Now we can use it on something that's 2 plates, which gives us a free kill plus a second charge. Now we can sit in the enemy jungle. Hey, look, I see you chucking spears. Look at the pressure, the pressure, the pressure. And the Skarner cannot do anything. It's got nothing to do with him dying level 1. It's got everything to do with him not thinking more about, hey, why don't I just base and get something, take the top scuttle crab, do the top lane gank, maybe I can go war deep on the Grump. By the time he would have done that, he would have seen the NIDALEE bot side, taken her tier 2 Grump, fallen back to maybe the Raptors, left his Krugs up, floated down to this side, and he has a bit of denial in her face, which stifles her level 5, level 6, and that's where you get yourself going a little bit, you know? And obviously what happens after that is subject to the alternate universe that we're talking about, but it's really where those foundations are laid in terms of how you think about the game. So here we get that second turret as well. Now we go back to base. We will, of course, have our Zhonya's be the next item because that'll stop the coin flip randomness of you know, them getting some shutdowns and things like this. We go outside in here, so we go blue, Grump Wolves, perfection. We could go for this, but why? It's a Krug camp in value, so that's why. I would like to snack that if possible, and then go blue, Grump Wolves, and then do full clear down, because you do it so quickly at this stage, and then we can collapse the Yasuo as necessary. And obviously, if you go boom, 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 you'd be in the same position. Excuse me, she didn't do the blue. She had a blue from the steal. Ignore me. Yes, I know in the comments. I know. I just had food poisoning for 5 days. I am still recovering. Rotate down, we collapse, we get the kill. Now her blue buff is spawning. So it makes even more sense that you would actually go boom, boom, boom into this. And then you can always just leave whatever you need to rotate to the Yasuo. Now we fall back into our Krugs, but we see a fight here. This is the problem when your ADCs get out of position. But now we look at this, we're like, okay, 1, 2, 3. This is gonna have ult. Have I been tracking that? Can Thresh hit a hook here? Yes, which means I can hit a spear, which will do a huge chunk. We can go in, get the kill. Now we can change things down together. We heal ourselves up. That's the stopwatch. Ezreal is one of those champions. Oh, the Senna gets the shutdown anyway, so she'll step up and take that. I think that was a very, very, very revengeful auto attack. I feel like there was a lot of emotion in that Senna snack, right? You felt that. She's like, yes, the shutdown. Like she's just been, though she's gonna dream of the NIDALEE tonight. In the meantime, you've just got the Gnar, like, yeah. I'm okay. I'm playing the game. Yeah, enjoy yourselves. Top laners, they really are strange people. So now we have the Zhonya's complete. So we got the stopwatch. Yeah, we got the stopwatch active. We delayed. Zed got the kill in the center. That's cool. And now we can leave base with the full-on Zhonya's. Now, of course, this is the way to do things if you want to snowball, and you don't really need the mythic. Like, you get mythics later, and it gives you a much bigger jump. Especially as we start to do the Herald, you know, the nature of based itemization, like Lich Bane's and Zhonya's, can allow you to control games a lot more dynamically. So he thinks that that's going to do something, which is a little funny, and the rest of the team is now just swooping. Have you noticed, though, that the difference between, say, your games like this and a high elo game like this is that they have all the kills, but we've all seen teams post in Discords and subreddits, hey, I threw. Hey, we had this lead, we threw. And it's because they're not continuously doing this. Turrets, objectives, taking their camps. Whereas the NIDALEE's team are basically just living in these zones and setting traps, and they can never set up, and this is where you win games, ultimately. And if you're unlucky, if you're the only member that's fed, you would still play the same way, right? You would play the same way. So we're gonna go ahead basically and snack up this Herald. Ghana shows up to the mid lane. Singed is pushing this one over here. We have here them pinging out help. We don't want to lose the Herald. She says, whoops, bye. Yeah, there you go. Wes, fall back to your Grump, fall back to your Wolves, defend against potential counter jungling. There you go. Go back to base in a safe zone. Perfect. Denial if they wanted to go looking for that. Did they even? Nope. Good, they knew. Thresh is gonna ward. Zed and Gnar over pushing, which means you kind of want to zone. Like, is someone coming in here? Is there someone not? The Ashe ultimate. Yes. Now the NIDALEE goes for the Raptors because she wants to join her team. So I talk a lot about in the mid game and the late game, outside in if you want to join your team. But when you're super fed, all right, when you're in control of games, then it's much better to simply. I'm just kind of watching to see if something's going to happen. It's much better to simply say, look, I'm going to take the Raptors and just keep going because my team's up. My team's ready to go. I don't need to greed for the camps. So you kind of want to do that quadrant if you have the time to do so. But if you don't need to do them and your team are ready to kind of group up and start to push things to finish, go join them, my friends. So here we have the Yasuo going into the back line, onto the grounded Ashe, who goes, great, my life is wonderful, I'm enjoying myself so much. We have a bottom lane crashing as well. NIDALEE's like keeping the space now, chuck the spear here. Singed is just trying to do what he can. See the traps there? That spear was not close, but it's fine. They're kiting him back. That's how you do it. Everyone's just kiting back. So the reason was like, well, let's just shove this out. NIDALEE's like, well, okay, one, we could just go use this for Herald and, you know, make some splashes and dashes into the base, but I don't really want to give them a free inhib at all, considering the nature of their team comp, so let's just rotate and use our numbers advantage for the free kills, because we don't really need the Ashe for anything, and that's exactly what they do. And the center's like, uh-oh, help. Help, ambush, flash hook, cinematic. That does hit, well, she'll die now. There we go. Juicy, juicy, juicy. That's a free Baron. If you want to activate the Herald, we can do that for a bit of pressure, and then we can go ahead and do the Baron. That's nice. There we go. Why worry about anything when you can just do Barons, finish off your quadrant here as well? Careful now. In games that are closer, yes, you can stay out a little bit longer here, but look at this already. Pushing by themselves, pushing by himself, ready to go, and now you're trailing everything. This is when red teams and enemy teams that, you know, in a closer game can actually win, will make picks on your team who overcommit. And they always do. They always do. We have here the Ludens. All right. But I think this, at this point, you know, it's obviously it was a little bit of fun, but obviously I got to put it on the thumbnail because that's a cool itemization build. And the Shadow Flame will come. The Shadow Flame cometh. See here, you're looking at it already. We have here a dead Zed. Probably watch that actually. They're trapping. We're doing our red. We're being shilling. We kind of want 16 first. We're not joining our team a little bit. Everyone has Baron. They're just waiting for something to happen. That's like, yo. And he's like, okay. And then Ash is like, oh no. Oh, and Thresh is like, I'll help you. I'll help you. I've got you. I'm going to protect you. And Nidalee like, okay, I'll rotate. I'll rotate. Look at this. Boom. And that's why we rotate. And that's why we rotate. Their mistake, well, not mistake, but their inability to have their whole team just clean that up before the Nidalee shows, and the fact that they can't kill the Gnar with 2 people. Yes, finally, they did it. Can we chase the Singed down? Rule number 1 of League of Legends is don't chase Singed, which means you should do it when you're winning a game. It sends a message. Very important. However, obviously now the Senna is up, the Ezreal's going to be up, the Skarner is going to be up. We can't end the game, but I don't think the Nidalee is that interested in ending the game. Again, she has by far the highest KP, will have the most damage, is more interested in just controlling the game like it's a flex queue game, basically. We'll take the second inhib. You could just bounce and chill now. That's spear, though. You can bounce and chill. That's a kill. Yeah, you can end the game. It worked out nicely. Gnar goes in into the spear. Stuns into spears are always good. Yeah, this should be GG, so. Saw the risk. You went for a red to get the red first. You wanted to then do Raptors and come up. You know, if you greed for the Krugs, if you kind of keep going, you put your head in the sand, they catch your team out, they all die. Now you're like, oh, now what? You either go mechanically, I'll play the 1v4 because you're so far ahead, or you stall out the game, coin flip a bit and lose. So, great example of angry jungling, a little bit of mind gaming, how to make an enemy jungler. You really rush Black Cleaver. Thank you very much for watching. Live Companions GG guides linked below. Virkayu for courses, classes, no classes, not yet. One-on-one coaching and all other things jungling. And as always, I'll see you all in the next tutorial.